Big day, night in the history of our wonderful lake, Highland Lake, a wonderful place to live. We're having a celebration, we'll have some remembrances and gratitude and Independence Day. It's all wrapped up in one beautiful, hot, sweaty weekend, and we just thank you very much for coming. This is the launch of the next generation Highland Lake Raft, an icon of our lake for more than 6 decades. As a matter of fact, Myrtle and Bob Rosemeyer and their son Mark, who is their 5th of 5 boys that they had, lived over here about 6 houses south on Haynesville Road. And they came from Waukegan in 1952, 53, and Bob Rosemeyer was an iron worker. And so he began building the raft. And people in the neighborhood, my dad Lawrence Lee Fled, we bought our house, built our house 200 yards west of us here on Indian Trail, where my sister Renee and Paul live now. And Bill Ryan, who's amphibian duck, would pull this thing back and forth and do other things on the lake for us with an amphibious, one of these things from Army surplus. And John Shea, Brian Motes, the Smarts, both Mike's dad and his uncle, Bob Gennaro, to say the least. Some incredible people who came before us. And it was 1954 in August, right where that sign is now, was where we had our first Highland Lake picnic. And that was where the Highland Lake Property Owners Association was born. We put together an association at that time, and the names that you'll hear. Our major contributors are Dennis DeRita, who's here tonight. We'll talk about in just a second. But I also want to say a huge heap of thanks to Andy Drummond and to Betty George. Betty George had a huge contribution. I don't know about the exact numbers. John can probably straighten out on this, but our original budget was, we had $4,000 in the bank. We budgeted $7,200, and we collected, what was the ultimate that we collected, about 14,000?
We're up to 13.
Huh?
We got another money.
Yeah, okay, all right, it's on his.
About 13,000.
Okay, but by the way, if you haven't contributed to your 2018 dues, it's only $125, and you can do it online, little plug. But it's going to be put to work for things like this, the raft and our fishing and the health of our lake, and now that we've got the zebra mussels thing in our hands, we got to deal with that. I also want to thank the Echo Company, and I do want to thank Ron for helping us get a sound system tonight. Ron Jensen is known as the Carp King. I'm the Carp Commander.
Yeah. Catfish.
I don't command much. I can't fish. I want to say thanks to Bob Kulas, crew at Avon Township, for helping us, do some of these gathering stuff. Thanks to Griff Winters and Todd Kennedy for providing electricity for this and for our work over on the project. Our past presidents, I expect to see, will introduce them if they get here. Proud to be a community of friends. Today's officers, introducing Colleen Benzo, our newest one, with our arms.
Colleen.
Dave Coulter, who couldn't be here, he's out of town right now. Linda Kuntner, who is going to be here. Marilyn Henry, Maggie Keefe, who's out of town, and I see that I'm drunk.
Lorna?
Yeah, right. She is.
She's so quiet.
Linda Kuntner, Dave Coulter, John, and Joe. And just a plug also for the communication system that we're trying to enhance and get better with is our hlcommunitysite.com. It's our website. And the more you use 2 weekends too. Unbelievable. Weekdays, weekends, whole bunches of people. Here are some of the people, and please raise your hand if I don't mention everybody's name. I want to mention everybody's name. Dennis DeRita, Ron Chase, and Evan Milstead, not to mention Cindy. Jim Benzo, right here. You should have seen him sweat today. He looked like a pig that was being chased with a hatchet. It was amazing. How many pounds did you lose today? 7?
3 liters of water.
You got it back in beer, though.
Yeah.
And we have Ron Ness and Todd Kennedy and Jim Lehman and Mike Kalstrup and James Kennedy. I said that, or this is James Kennedy and Mark Rosemeyer, who's not here. He was, and the whole Green family, which are their darling children. We got them crawling underneath there in the mud. It was great. And a partial list of the contributors. The original budget, as I said, was 4,000. The estimate was 7,200, and then the bigger things came in from Dennis and others. It made us go to the top and do it right. So what you see here is the next generation, the next 65 years for your children and your grandchildren and your grandchildren's children. So that's what's going on here right now, because that's what's happened. But the names, I want to read the names who contributed. Dennis and Andy, of course, and Maggie Keith, John and Beth Sonnenberg, Bruno and Katie Majardi, is this right? Did I say that right? Majardi, and Mark Waters, and Janet Casian, and Marilyn and Bill Henry, Dave and Judy Lenahan, John and Rose Woodruff, Tracy and Nick Holputz, Lauren Summers, Armando Moreno, Colleen and Jim Benzo, Rich and Amy Brotherland, Paul and Maureen, my sister, Shirley, Cindy and Ron Middlestad, Larry and Diane Leaflad, that's us, Enid Tanton, Barbara Durrett, Lorna Denig family, Elizabeth George, and Marie Cavanis. I know I'm missing one. Mihalovich.
Linda Dowling.
Yeah, Peter and Michelle Mihalovich. Did I get that? Who did I miss?
Linda Dowling, too.
Linda Dowling. Yeah, we just got her
Today.
just yesterday. I went over to her house and I banged on there. Give me your money! She came walking out with the money, just like that. That's how it works, you know. So, you know, with all those things in set, you know, Joe Bigalki and John Sonnenberg were the absolute drivers of this thing. And I cannot tell you how many times I walked up to Joe and I said, thank God for you. And I can't tell you how many times I said to other people, imagine what this would have been like without Joe Bigalki. And it was amazing.
Yes.
Joe, come on up.
Step right up, Joe.
He put his foot in it. And he sacrificed his very limb for you and me and the raft. Is that what I was supposed to say? That's what I was supposed to say. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's no words how important this is, because this brings back the icon of Highland Lake.
Yeah.
And this is the guy right here.
Yeah, that's the whole idea, you know. Having grown up here, and now an adult, and now my adult life is pretty much at the, not at the end, but it's getting close. And seeing the things that happen in my life and everything else, so many of my morals, so many of my ethical values and compasses came from right here. And right there. And so it means a lot. And when Mike Kelstrup asked a couple of us to go out and look at the raft last year because we had problems with ladders. And so I went out there and looked at it, and it wasn't just the ladders. The raft was done. So in lieu of having you guys wake up in the morning and see the diving board sticking straight up in the air, I thought, well, we have to do something next at the end of we pulled in at the fall, and then obviously what happened this year. But that's the whole thing, and it's just that, you know, generation after generation, you have to look out, you have to teach your kids. And the things I learned there, hopefully the kids that helped, and thank all of the adults that got the kids down there to help, because it's unbelievably important that they learn those things and see that adults really do things like that. But that's what it's all about for me. So,
Thank you.
nice job.
He is all giving. This is an amazing person, really, truly. John, you know, and there's somebody who has to have very organizational skills, none of which I have.
The model
so we work
maker.
really well together. I don't know what I'm doing. I just shoot from the hip, and he says, "Oh, Larry, that's not the right hip." John.
All right. First of all, this was amazing. I mean, everything he designed, thought out every step of the way. Anytime we ran into a problem,
No, I tell the truth.
it was that way.
There's your designs right there.
Yeah.
So we did go through some. If you get a chance to come up here,
Hold that for him, Larry.
that was the scale model of the original raft, and we kind of used that as like a template of what we wanted to do. And then I'll get over here. And then what we did was basically Joe and Ron, and with a bunch of guys, we got together and we started thinking about how do we build this thing the right way, especially after the donations really started coming in. I think that really changed everything, especially with Dennis's generosity. I can't thank you enough, Dennis. I mean, it just turned the tide on this thing. Elon Musk would be proud of us for coming up with
When you did that, that was the goal light.
that was, that said we can do it right. And then I'm going to pass this around. This is a bolt from the old Raft. Okay, so you can see, the condition of that old Raft, and I saved that. So pass that around and you can get an idea of how close that was to not being there, being at the bottom. And we did explore, especially Joe explored. He drove around with this 3,000-pound tank on the back of his car trailer to different places to say, hey, can you save her? And it, basically came back that it's better to do it this way. And then we kind of lucked out. We ended up coming across up in Wisconsin. A tornado came through a pontoon boat manufacturing company, and the salvage decks that were thrown around couldn't be used anymore for boats. And so they were piled up in a place up in Franklin, Wisconsin. And Joe and I went up and we looked at them and stuff like that, and we kind of talked them into a reasonable price. That was fun.
John wouldn't pay the high price. I'm sorry, guys, we're done.
Yeah. So so we came within budget. And, I think it's just a matter of the teamwork, though. I mean, it really was. This isn't, and I give all the credit to Joe, but I tell you, there's other people that were involved.
It took more than us.
Jim and Ron and Mark Rosemeyer and all the Todd Kennedy and James guys that came out to work on it.
And they worked hard.
And it was funny because there was no plans, there was no drawings, no CAD. It just was, okay, what do you think we should do? And we sat around, and I think if we would have had more beer, we probably would have got it done sooner.
Yeah.
But we had to think it through, and it just took teamwork of people to go into it. And I think that's really what really makes this thing so special, is that we know that this is what I call the culture of the community. And every community, I travel all over the country, right? And I go see things, and in Boston you'll see the old Ironside, and in Hawaii you'll see the Arizona and the Missouri, and you go around and you see these things that are cultures of the community, and they say this is us, okay? And that raft is us, not just because it's a raft, but 70 years from now, that guy right there is going to be that guy right there, okay? And those two little girls, okay, will never be allowed to be on that raft, I'll tell you that right now. All the stories I heard, okay, Cam and I will make sure those girls never get out there, ever, because we did hear a lot of stories. But it is really something that we have to respect that culture that we have. And we bring that every day to this community. I hope that you guys will appreciate the raft and walk on it, because that's the future culture that you're sharing, okay? I'm actually reading a book right now called The Cultural Blueprint. And it's really something that, in fact, I got to meet with the author in 2 weeks. And it's just fabulous to hear in there and say, this guy is saying, you need to have a culture, you need to embrace that culture, because it brings the whole community together, it gives us purpose for life. And I think that is, when you guys look out in the raft, you see it sitting out there, it's like, okay, why are we here? The raft. It's not the raft, but it's the culture of the raft. Okay? Thank you very much, and I'll turn it back to Larry.
It's amazing. Totally amazing what came in. And really, basically, the work for all of us began just 8 weeks ago. But these guys were working on it way into the winter, way back in the winter. Want to just mention, we invited all of our past presidents that are alive: Dave Quinn, Georgia Avery, Barb Jolly, and Mike Kallstrom, just so you know. Also, this zebra mussels things has been detected in Highland Lake, which I don't know if you know this or not, but it's the first time in our history. We were developing a plan, it's a very expensive plan, probably be in the area of more than we paid for the raft, to say the least. It's an aquatic hitchhiker that can kill the balance of our Highland Lake. And we've been successful in keeping it away. Most of the other lakes around us have failed. We think we have a pretty sound company. They flew in for the very next day out of California. We met at Sonnenberg's house, and it's a lot of money. But we know what it takes, and I tell you, if this is any indication of how important our lake is, just our raft, imagine the issue and the size of that zebra mussel thing. I want to bring up one of the nicest guys I've ever met, Dennis DeRita. Dennis, give him a round of applause. He's our largest contributor. But let me tell you something about it. He's a retired jet jock for United Airlines. Was it 747s and 777s? I mean, that's the ultimate of pilotness. And he's like this really cool dude, you know, real low key. Because he's driving one of those things, a bit cool. Well, I'm telling you, here he was underneath the raft in his white uniform from United Airlines, which is kind of goofed up, it's kind of old, crawling on his back in the muck, tightening up nuts. And I said, that's our kind of guy, Dennis DeRita.
I really don't know why I'm up here, by myself after all the names that have been mentioned through the years. I've been on the lake almost 52 years, and magically on Memorial Day and Labor Day, you can set your calendar because the raft would appear and then disappear, and somebody would do it. And I think I helped once on the raft when they wanted to put a carpeting in there. I don't know if that was a good idea or not, but anyway, the Lakeside readers wanted to underwrite a plaque, and when I made my donation, which turns out people really came through, a plaque was mentioned, for Sandy, and but with all the people who were involved for all these years, I didn't think it was right, and I knew Sandy didn't think it was right to make it Sandy's Raft or have her name on the plaque. The plaque is ordered. It might be here next week. This is a copy of what it would look like. It says Highland Lake Raft, dedicated to all the people who have helped make this raft possible throughout the years. And I took one liberty. It says August 21st, 2018. Well, 2018, we're dedicating the raft. And August 21st was Sandy's birthday.
Yeah.
So we know what the August 21st thing is.
Yeah, nice.
But other than that, even without my donation, it's obvious the raft would have been here today anyway. So.
Thanks,
Thank you,
John.
Dennis. Thank you. Well, we would have been broke.
Thank you. I'm serious.
This is
We're
the
green
quality.
light.
You know, we have such
Yeah.
incredible
Everybody
quality
get going.
of people who live in our community, of every walk of life, and every talent, and every IQ. Everybody's IQ, by the way, on the board is much higher than mine. I've noticed that. You know?
We know
But I
that.
give a good impression.
We've always known that.
Let's say, well, we're going to get ready. Are we going to launch this out into the water now?
No.
Or are we going to leave it sitting?
It's gonna storm tonight.
Oh, okay. So we'll pretend.
Ceremonially
Okay.
launch it.
But before, I want to just close by saying it was in 1954 when this first picnic happened right here, and the people like John Shea and Motzes and my mom and dad and the Rosemeyers and all these people came together here, and we all had kids games, and we brought a basket, and this is where it started, right here. And here we are, what, 55 years later, you know, and the raft lasted that long, and we're building the next generation, you know. And when I just graduated from Avon Grade School in 1956, and my friends and I would go out to the raft and do a thing. We had Tom Goforth, Don Swenson, Bill Momenthal, Jim Garland, Ron Schultz. we'd get pebbles, 10 pebbles in our hands. One guy would stand on the board, 2 guys stand on the dock, and we throw them in. And 2 teams of 3, we see how fast we can dive down and catch those pebbles before they got to the bottom. So we did this all summer long in the summer of 1956. And this is my biggest memory of this event. There's so many friends and so many people from Grace Lake High School came here to celebrate with us. Tom Goforth, the Goshgarians, Millars had the big place on Washington Street, the Garlands, Schroeder's, the Sontags, you know them. Elmer Sontag is the guy who bought the land and created Sontag Park, who lived on Washington Street. Harders, who lived over here. The Shays, the Moses, the Peterses, who lived in that house right there. And the Averys and the Wellers. And the Ivesers, and of course the Shinners brood. I think they had 58 kids. Something along those lines. But this is what it's all about, you guys. And we have had an incredible opportunity of bonding on this situation. It was really hard work. We had to sacrifice, so many people have sacrificed their days, their weekends, and their Saturdays. And we want to thank you for coming for this celebration. And John?
Yeah, forgot something.
Forgot Darren Rubach, who used to live here. He worked at Rust-Oleum. He got a hold of Ken and Kyle. We actually worked with Rust-Oleum about how we were going to save the old raft. And then when we realized we couldn't save the old girl, they donated the paint for restoring all the wood and metal on the raft. So it was about $400 worth of very top-end quality, will last forever, the rock solid thing. So I did want to say that, and I think that's the only thing I said.
So close your eyes, like this real tight, and pretend that we're launching the raft. Okay, got it? No peeking now, okay? Here we go. You ready?
There it goes!
Off we go!
You can go on the raft now if you want to. Get some pictures taken.